Hey, you're welcome to my channel. So today I'm going to show you how I cut and sew this simple stylish top that has two side belts, drawstring sleeve, and you can see the neck is very wide but not too deep. And it has asymmetric cuts at back and front at the down part. So it's actually a two-piece, as you can see. And I used 3 yards to achieve this. That's why you can see addition. There's a joining at the down part of the top because of the fabric. Hi guys, my name is Fatima A. Yusuf, and on this platform I share sewing tutorials. Don't forget to click the subscribe button, and if it's something you like to learn, let's get straight to it. So I have 4 yards of vintage fabric here. Sorry, not four, 3 yards. I meant to use four, but I had 3 yards, so I had to manage it. To be on a safer side, 4 yard would be better. So I divided it into two. So I have 1.5 yard, 1.5 yards, right? So I'll be using 1.5 yards to make the trouser and 1.5 yard to make the top. So what I will do here is just draft my normal palazzo pants. I'm going to drop the link for you guys in the description box so you can know how I draft it. Very simple and easy to draft. So I'm supposed to use 2 yards of fabric to make this palazzo pants, but I had 1.5, so we're managing fabric. Like I said, I'll drop the link to the tutorial on my description box, so kindly go there in case you want to watch how I cut and sew the trouser parts. So the video is basically about the top because I already have a tutorial on the trouser. Like I said though, I'm going to drop the link for you guys in the description box. So I'm done drafting and cutting. I'll just go ahead and sew the trouser. So what I cut at the down part of this trouser, that's what I later use for my pocket. And then the one I cut out from the crotch, I'll still use it in front. Now to the top, this is 1.5 yard. I'm going to fold it using the length first, like this. The two sides should meet like this. And I'm going to fold using the width. So that's how I fold for the top. Should in case you want a longer top, I actually wish mine was longer. You should have about 2 yards, so it's going to be long for you. So now I'll fold it using the width, right? And I'm going to turn it in such a way that the closed part here will be my sleeve. The longest part will be my sleeve length because I wanted it to be long. You get? So I went ahead to measure what I have for my sleeve, right? That's the shoulder. And I had almost 30 inches. That's good. Then now for the length of the top here first. So I had 27 inches. So let's say I had 2 yards of fabric, it will be longer than that, you understand? So I won't be needing any addition. Then I went for the neckline. I used 4 inches for the width and then 1.5 inches for the depth. And it's going to be around neckline. The only thing here is that it's wider and it's not deep. So you make the neck more wider, but it shouldn't be too deep. So that's just one thing about the neckline. So I joined my width and depth together and I formed the round neckline. We are done. So there's no shoulder slope. In case you want to make a shoulder slope, kindly do so, but I'm not doing that in this case. You get? After I was done with the neckline, the next thing is to mark my bust line. So the bust line is also that to serve as your sleeve wideness, your open sleeve, you can call it that. So I used 10 inches for bust line. That will also be the wideness of my sleeve. So I used 10 inches. You can use more than that if you want. Then I used 16 as usual, and then I had 24 inches for my hip line. So I'm going to extend all those 3 lines. So you can use your normal 9 or 10, right? Then when you get to the sleeve opening, you can use your 12, 13, then just make sure it meets that place and then you form a curve, but using 10 is okay. Now on my bust line, I repeated my bust circumference divided by 4 and I added 3 inches, right? You can add 2, within from 2 to 3 is okay for allowance. Then now on my waist, same thing, my waist circumference by 4, then I added 3 inches. On my hip now, I'm going to divide my hip circumference by 4, then I added 4 inches at the hip part. So you see, that's what I did there. Now just join the 3 points together, and from the hip I'll just take it straight to the end of the top. If you like, you can take it slant. See, it's all good. So now for my bust, my waist like this, then make sure it's curvy at that angle, and then take it down to your hip, and from hip down to the length of the top, the full length of the top. So here I'm going to take a straight line to meet the end of my sleeve, and I'll make sure I form a curve in between the armpit. I forgot to do that. So I went ahead to cut my neckline, then the sides. While cutting, I think I'll form, yes, I formed the curve as you can see. Now just cut the sides. So we are done cutting here, right? Then now, from these pieces that I cut, the excess that I cut out, I'm going to be using that to add to the length of my top. So that's why I say if you can get 2 yards, it will be okay. But it actually depends on the length you want, you get. So now this is the wideness. I tried to measure the wideness I had at the down part. So is 15.5 inches. So that will guide me on to know amount of what I need. So now this extension, this excess, sorry, not the extension, I'm going to join. I have 4 pieces here. If you can see, 2 here, 2 there. So I'm going to join them together, 2 each, join 2 each together. So I've done that here. As you can see, there are stitches there, right, at the edge. So we have 2 for the 2 for back and front, and it's stitched too. So now I'm going to measure the length I want to add to my initial length. So let's say you had 20 before, you want to add 10, you mark your 10 or you mark 11 inches so that by the time you're done sewing, you should have your desired length. So I went ahead to mark to cut out 8 inches. So that's the length I added to my fabric. And initially our length was what? 27 inches plus 8, that will be about 35 inches. So now I'm going to bias the neck and I'll add each piece to the end of both back and front. So I've stitched it using 0.5 inch and I've biased my neckline as you can see, right? So I'm going to open it up like this so I can mark the asymmetric line. So now from my waistline, I'm going to go down by either 4, 5, 6, depends on where you want that your slantiness or that your asymmetric effect or line to start from. So I can mark 5 or 6, right? So I decided to use 5 at the end. So I marked 5. So from 5, I'll take it to meet the end of the other side like this, and I'll be cutting off this down part. So you can leave it like this. So you leave the back without the asymmetric cuts, but I decided to cut it out. So I decided to do opposite, you understand? So where I marked 5 inches earlier, the side that I marked 5 inches earlier, for this other back piece or front piece, I'm going to be marking at the opposite side. So I marked 5 inches, took it slightly down and cut out this part of it. So that's basically what I did. But you can make the asymmetric effect to be at just one part of your top. Hope you get it. Good. So from the excess I had left, I created my belts. Then I went ahead to hem the down part separately and also hem the sleeve opening each. So I hemmed the down part and I hemmed the sleeve opening each. Now I'm going to create my drawstring casing. From where my neckline stops, I'm going to mark 8 inches. You can decide to use 6, use 5, based on your choice. So from that 6 to the end of my sleeve, I'm going to be attaching a drawstring casing to it. This is very easy. I don't know why people find drawstrings very hard to make, but for me, I feel like they are very easy to make. So now the pieces that I cut out from my trouser, from the crotch part, I used that to create my last my drawstring casing. It wasn't up to the 16, but I used it like that. So I'll be using one. I just folded it into 2 and I folded it into 2, right? And then I just cut it into 2. So I have 2 pieces of each, one for the left hand, one for the right hand. After I was done cutting those pieces, right, I'm going to stitch it to the sleeve part, right? So just watch. You know, I measured 8 inches. That's where my drawstring casing will start from, right? So now, thank God I ironed. So there's already a straight line in between. I'm going to place this piece on it like this. We have this wideness 3 inches, which is good. Now I'm going to fold it into part of the up and the down when I'm doing this. Now sew the middle. After I'm done sewing the middle, then I'll fold in some part of the sides and stitch. So before stitching the middle, I fold the upper part. Before getting to the down part, I fold the down part inward before stitching the middle. Then I went ahead to stitch the sides. So I stitched the middle, then I stitched the sides. And then after doing that, you should have 0.5 inch by the side, 0.5 inch by the side, or 1 inch, 1 inch, depends on how wide you want your drawstring rope to be. Then I joined the sides using 0.5 inch, and then I stitched my belt to it. I forgot to film those parts, but that should be easy for you if you have been following me for a while. And then I inserted my drawstring ropes. I wasn't able to get a video to do that, while I was doing that. Sorry, I'm also going to drop a link for you people where I made a yellow gown. So you see how I passed through the drawstring ropes the same way I did over here. So this is how the top looks, and you see how the I'm very sure you saw how the two-piece looked at first, right? Very nice and very beautiful. So this is it with the top, and I rocked this in about 6 ways. Yes, if you're on my Facebook, you will see how I rocked it in 6 weeks. So my people, if you have learned one or two from this tutorial, please don't forget to give me a thumbs up, drop a comment, and subscribe to my channel. And I'm going to see you guys in another tutorial, and let me know what you think about this top in the comment section. Thank you for watching, and thank you for subscribing.